today's video is to talk about the beginning of our buildings, or excuse me, our city in 2-point perspective. And so for my fifth graders, you're going to get a piece of paper that is about 9 by 12. And when you pick this up, you'll notice it's a much thicker paper, it's heavier, and it's actually got some texture to it. This is watercolor paper. And the reason it's got the texture and the thickness is because it's meant to hold water better than our average paper. So the reason I'm telling you this is as you begin your city in 2-point perspective, you want to draw as light as possible. So any lines that you make, you can erase. And as you remember, in 2-point perspective, we do a lot of erasing. So we need to make sure we draw light and that we don't cause grooves in the paper. And so when we erase, they're actually gone. All right? And so we're going to start with our paper like this, going what we call landscape way. And so we're going to draw a horizon line across the paper like this. We're going to put 2 vanishing points on our paper, one on the left side, one on the right side. And again, we're going to draw as light as possible. So this is a fairly light line. And so if I zoom in, you can see it. But you don't want to go any darker than this. Some of the lines are going to be permanent and some are going to be temporary. The vanishing points are probably going to be the darkest thing because they are meant to stay there for quite a while. So for the rest of this, I'm going to go ahead and do it in paint because it's just a much clearer image. When we start this in paint, just like we've been doing for the last couple days of practicing, we're going to start with boxes, and then we'll transform or change them into buildings as we put windows and doors on. So we're going to start with a vertical line. Every time we do 2-point perspective, we start with a vertical line. Then we are going to connect that vertical to both vanishing points. Once you have something like this, we want to make a left side and a right side. And since this is a building, I'm going to go ahead and start a little bit bigger with this. I'm going to make it into a decent sized box. I want to make sure that my lines are straight up and down, that they're not angling. So there's my left side. And there is my right side. All right, so once we have the left and right side, then we need to make the top. Well, the top goes to the vanishing point on the left and the vanishing point on the right. And this is all review. And so this is my first building, building A. And we would possibly erase all these lines, or I might need them later for my other buildings, so we'll see how it goes. I'm going to have a couple of buildings that are the same height. So I'm going to go ahead and add a building over here. There's the left side of it. If it is right next to building A, I'm going to go ahead and see the top of it, but I would not see the right side of it. So I'd go to the right-hand vanishing point. I could draw another building over here that's like this, or I could draw one over here. I'm going to go ahead and draw a third building here. You can follow your packet, or you can kind of go with something on your own. But I currently have building A, building B, and building C. I'm going to do a building now that is taller. So I'm going to extend this line up, and I'm going to go all the way up here. I want something that's quite a bit taller. I'm going to go to the left-hand vanishing point for the left side, the right-hand vanishing point for the right side, and I'll stop it with a vertical line for the left and a vertical line for the right. This is all review from what we've been doing. Remember, we're drawing as light as possible, because a lot of this stuff is going to be erased. All of this in here is going to be erased, even the horizon line. So if I'm drawing light, I can get rid of this. The watercolor paper is expensive enough that we want to stick with just one piece of paper. So it's okay to make mistakes, but remember, if we're drawing light, those mistakes are gone and erased, and we don't have to worry about it. So there's an additional building. Now, we've got building A, B, C, D. This is D. I can draw another building over here easily by drawing a line straight down. Since this building is shorter than this building, I'm going to see a little bit of the top of it right here. So I would go from this vertical to this vanishing point over here. And again, we would not see through the buildings, so I would erase right here. So we now have 5 buildings. For this project, you are going to have to do at least 5, but you also need to have something that looks like a city. And right now, this doesn't necessarily look like a city. It's getting there, but it's just a little kind of empty. I could draw some more buildings over here. I could draw some taller buildings here. You can do all sorts of things. And this is where it becomes your city. So think about what you would like to have. Do you want buildings of all different sizes like I'm doing now? Do you want buildings that are relatively all the same size? Just remember that all of your buildings are going to go to the vanishing point, and they're going to be vertical. And it's pretty easy to draw multiple buildings just by remembering that. Everything is vertical and to the vanishing point. All right, so I stopped the video and played it again because I wanted to clean up and add some things to it. It's not as clean as it could be. There are some lines that still could be erased here. But I also want to talk to you about drawing windows and doors. And so for the first day, our goal is to get all of our buildings drawn and get some windows and doors done. I have one door already drawn on here. To draw another door is very simple. Everything is going to be vertical, just like this, and to the vanishing point. If we're doing windows, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to draw something that is vertical and to the vanishing point. So I would go to the left-hand vanishing point. And vertical. So again, windows and doors, buildings are all going to be vertical and to the vanishing point. Your goal is to get a minimum of 5 buildings drawn. All of your buildings need to have windows and doors, so this has got a long ways to go.